So over time, I was a musician, so we were traveling around the United States, around the world, and so forth. Over time, we got hit up by these, mainly montages, and they were all dressed in beautiful saris like that. And this would have been about maybe 72, 73. And finally, one day, I decided to read one of the magazines. Previously, the band had just been tossing the magazines in the trash. We didn't know what it was. I would give a donation. And when I opened the magazine, I couldn't understand a word. I couldn't understand anything about it. Sanskrit, translations, words I'd never heard before. It was very foreign to me. But I remember that I was attracted to this person on the cover, Srila Prabhupada. And I remember just some magnetism about Srila Prabhupada. And you could feel that purity coming from the book. So just by touching the magazine over a period of time, and just by meditating on this servant of God, Srila Prabhupada, who's the best servant of God, obviously, Jaladuta, I was affected in an amazing way. And I began to give up. I was already a vegetarian, but I began to give up smoking marijuana and drugs and things like that. I started fasting and I started reading on the breaks. And the more I read, the more I just fell in love with Srila Prabhupada. And so when we talk about Dasya Rasa, the first thing that we have to do is acknowledge that none of us here would know anything about that had it not been for Srila Prabhupada, who left Vrindavan to come to the Western world with a couple of trunks of books, 3 translations of Srimad Bhagavatam, foreign language, a man with pointy little shoes, no friends, he had no real sponsorship, no money. And a few times he went down to the steamship company, and he had his last couple of $100, and he thought, maybe I should go. Maybe I should go. And he took a chance and took that last $200 and rented the Matchless Gift Store in the little apartment in the back. So he took his last $200 and figured, what the heck? Let's give it all we got. Burn the ships, burn it all. We're staying here on behalf of the order of our spiritual master. So because Srila Prabhupada did that, we're all here today. If it weren't for that, there would be none of us. So, do you see, is my phone over there somewhere? Hey, I don't know where my phone is. I wanted to read something. Maybe it's sitting over there.
Is it inside the big bag?
Yeah. That's where I keep all my important stuff. It's in my big bag. Mainly my beads, right? Thank you. Appreciate that. So I'm just going to read something that Prabhupada wrote. Well, he didn't write it. It was actually written by Howard Smith. And Howard Smith was a reporter of the Village Voice. So this is after Prabhupada had opened, after he'd gone to Tompkins Square Park, maybe after he chanted and people were coming. So this gentleman, it became a little bit of a, what you might call sensation. Because Prabhupada's in Tompkins Square Park, he's playing on a little bongo drum, right? And certain people come. Some of the original devotees that we had, they came. They didn't know what it was. They just felt Prabhupada's devotion. They could feel it. It made them dance, right? So Prabhupada actually wrote that when he came to America. Make me dance as you like. He's a puppet in God's hands. He surrendered himself fully in this mood of servitude. And so when this gentleman comes in from the Village Voice to do an interview with Srila Prabhupada, the first thing he sees is a bunch of guys sitting around kind of mumbling to themselves. And he had no idea what was going on. They didn't really welcome him. But he saw Prabhupada setting up on a little stage. And he thought, well, maybe I should go speak to him. He's not otherwise engaged like these guys are. So he looked like the real thing, he said. He had like markings on his forehead, and he was wearing orange robes. So he figured he must be the main guy. So he goes to Prabhupada, and he says, hello. And Prabhupada said, hello. He said, are you Swami Bhaktivedanta? And Prabhupada said, yes, I am. He said, I'm Howard Smith. He said, I was expecting to sit down, so he said, excuse me, I have to take off my shoes. And he said, Prabhupada said back, why do you want to take off your shoes? To the gentleman. And the gentleman said, well, I don't know, I saw all these other shoes outside. I figured I may need to do that. Prabhupada said, I didn't ask you to take off your shoes. So then he says, well, what are those people doing out there? He asked Prabhupada, what are they doing out there? Prabhupada said, I don't know. He said, and they don't know what they're doing either. And then he said, I am trying to teach them, and they seem to be misunderstanding me. They are very confused people. So that's our story. We're confused people. We thought we were God. We wanted to be God. We were trying to be God. We were giving everything we had to be the richest, the most beautiful, the most famous, the most powerful, the most wealthy. We gave our whole lives for these things, right? Or we gave it to our nation, gave our lives to our nations, or we gave it to our political persuasion, or we gave it to our family, or we gave it to our children, or we gave it to our wife, or we gave it to our mother and father. And we were serving all these different things without any understanding of why we were here, who we are, where we came from. We had no idea. All these things we were completely confused about. So Prabhupada entered an environment with people like us who had no clue of what was going on and tried to introduce us to an ancient philosophy, actually an eternal philosophy, of this Bhagavad Dharma, this service to God, trying to figure out how he can convince these people. When he got to Boston Harbor, he couldn't imagine, how will I be able to convince these people? They're engaged in the modes of ignorance and passion. They're running here and there, trying to enjoy sense gratification. And so Prabhupada just asked Krishna to make him dance as he likes. So I wrote a song about Prabhupada coming to the Western world. I've never really played this song much, so if I mess it up, I hope you don't mind. It's all right. We're less than sufficient. Can you hear the guitar? One Jaladuta, he crossed the sea, left from Darwin's ecstasy, to save 1,000,000 fallen souls and set them free. He nearly died on the stormy seas. Krishna's visions he would see, and so he sailed on Boston Harbor and the Bay. And he stands for all that's true and worth believing. To save the world, he showed that love is all you need, to bring us home back to Krishna's lotus feet. The dancing puppet in God's hands, he carried out Chaitanya's plans, spread the holy names to each and every land. And God had chosen him the one to set Maya on the run. And so he built a house big enough for everyone. And he stands for all that's true and worth believing. To save the world, he showed that love is all you need. Back to home, back to Godhead he creed. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. He didn't worry about the cost, what was gained or what was lost. His only mission was to serve his master's words. And I want to learn to be like him. My score I will give it. Instead I'll follow Prabhupada until the end. Because he stands for all that's true and worth believing. To save the world he showed that love is all you need. And Prabhupada, I'm about to touch your Lord's feet. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya 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 Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, So Prabhupada sailed across the sea. He left Vrindavan's ecstasy to save 1 million wretched souls like me. So thank you, Prabhupada. Prabhupada has shown us what Dasya actually means. And if we look at his life, we'll see that Srila Prabhupada was actually the greatest of all servants of the Lord. So there's so many wonderful things we can talk about in that regard. So we're das under das. All of us are servants of the servants of the servants of the servants, removed literally millions and millions of times. So when we think about trying to serve Krishna directly, that's a daunting task. Our best bet is to serve the spiritual master. So we approach the spiritual master in a humble state of mind, and we acquire from the spiritual master submissively. The spiritual master has seen the truth, so he can therefore impart the truth to us. So everything starts with accepting the spiritual master. Then devotional service can start. Then we can truly become seva nishtas. We can become attached favorably to the service of the Lord by witnessing the example of the spiritual master. So when we see the spiritual master serving the Lord, we're inspired to also serve the Lord. Some great examples of these seva nishtas are all of the demigods, for example. They're pretty good at it. Matter of fact, the lights and the water seem to be working fine. Bills seem to be paid. Right? Demigods are doing a pretty good job. I think there's how many millions? 33 million. Yeah. So there's a lot of servants of the Lord who are engaged in just maintaining what you see here in front of your face, this Varata Rupa of Krishna. So we see that service going on. And by the way, if you breathed any air today, you should be giving your obeisances to the Lord, because all of these things, all of these gifts are coming from God. The sensations that we have, the material body, the senses, all of the smells, flavors, taste, all of these things, this is all given to us by the Lord. So if you really look at it, who's the biggest servant of all? We're all being served wonderfully, aren't we? Everybody's got their necessities, right? This is coming from the Lord since time immemorial. So the Lord is giving us everything. He's asking for what back? Just like we saw one gentleman who's got a small child. If the small child has something, the gift to the parent out of love, the parent is overjoyed. The parent doesn't need the small child's money, doesn't need the small child's knowledge, doesn't need the small child's ability or talent, really doesn't need anything from the small child. But what does he appreciate the most? He appreciates that love or that reciprocation that's coming from the child. Because that's an act of service, voluntary service. So Dasya starts when we voluntarily decide to take up service to God. Right? That's the beginning, really, of all the other rasas and the beginning of our devotional life. And there are many devotees engaged in the pastimes of the Lord in all of the trillions of universes that we look out and see at night, or at least we see galaxies, trillions of galaxies. There's also trillions of universes. And this has been going on since time immemorial. It's eternal. God is coming. His incarnations are coming. His plenary portions are coming. Portions of plenary portions are coming again and again and again. But Krishna is the one without a second. He is the source of all. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anandira Govinda Sarva. So the Lord is coming in all these different ways. Why? To serve you. He's coming to serve you because He's giving you the knowledge that you've forgotten. He's reminding you of who you are. Who put you here? Why did you come here? What are you doing here? What are you supposed to be doing here? Where can you go when you leave? What's on all these planets? So when Prabhupada came, we had no idea what any of this was about. We thought it was a primordial soup that a lightning bolt struck. No God, just primordial soup. Protoplasmic crud. That's what we thought it was, right? Somehow or another, an accidental lightning bolt comes around. We don't know where the crud came from. We don't know where the lightning bolt came from. And we're expected to believe this nonsense. Right?
Yeah.
And they come up with new nonsense every other day. Right? And you know, the textbooks that I read when I was a child, all of that has now been repudiated. None of that information still exists. There's new knowledge, new information, new this and that. Why? Because it's dependent on imperfect senses to give you information by cheaters. How's that going for you? Not very good. So therefore, we decide voluntarily to become servants first of the spiritual master. And that is the beginning of Dasya Rasa. From there, we can grow, right? We can grow to Sakya Rasa, Salya Rasa, Madhurya Rasa, like that. And but it all starts with service. And who's the best servant? Srila Prabhupada. So we look at Prabhupada's life, and we're inspired, and we're motivated. And then by the information and all the information that he has given us in the Vedic literatures, we can understand that everyone is a servant of Krishna. They just need to be reminded. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, everyone follows my path in all respects, O Arjuna. So it doesn't matter what you want, what you desire, what you need, what you're looking for. Krishna has provided all of that. And it's coming to you. Every desire that you have. If you want to stay in the material world millions and millions of lifetimes, Krishna will provide that nicely for you. If you want to go back home, Krishna will provide very nicely for you. But it all starts when we come in contact with a person who exudes pure devotional love for God. Just a moment's contact with a person like that can change our life permanently. Right? So just touching that BTG, that magazine, I had no idea, Yata Sukriti, right? I had no idea that I was being changed in my heart. I had no idea, just by touching or reading the words of the spiritual master, that I was becoming cleansed, becoming washed. And as I became cleaner and cleaner, I could see, it's like washing the mirror. You clean the mirror, you can see your reflection very nicely. It starts out in a haze. You don't know what you look, it's just some kind of blob on the mirror, right? But if you start thinking on selfish desire, immediately they go away from one another. Because what is your master? What desire are you manifesting? What is your desire? That desire you will become. That desire you will be given. Krishna will give you. Whatever your desire is in due course of time, he will give you. So we have to be extremely careful what we desire. So if we see that there's some motive on someone's part, that's not pure devotion. Pure devotion means selfless service for the sake of the satisfaction of the beloved. You want to see them happy. When they're happy, you become happy. And not until. So if we think that everybody should be making me happy and they're not, what happens after that? We become frustrated. Didn't you know that I was God? Can't you see that I'm the supreme person of God? Why won't you serve me correctly? This is our attitude. Right? So we go away. They go away. Because it's based in an illusion. It's based in a falsehood. So when artificial sense gratification is disturbed, immediately there's division between people. Immediately there's a war. And we see this happening all over the world. So you remember the story of Bilvamanula Thakur, right? So Bilvamanula was attached, he was a great devotee, but he was attached to a prostitute. So he was so desirous to be with the prostitute that one night specifically it was raining very, very hard, lightning, thunder. He didn't care. He went out in the middle of the night to go to the prostitute's house. The gate was locked. So what did he do? He climbed the fence. He actually thought it was a rope, but it was a snake that he had grabbed just to get to the prostitute. So he endangered his life for the sake of sense gratification. He endangered his life. And what did the prostitute tell him? She said, if you only had this kind of devotion to Krishna, you would be a great devotee. So he immediately left and went to Vrindavan. He lived there, 700 years in a state of devotion. He gave up everything immediately. So we can give up everything now, or we can do it gradually. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said there's no time for this gradual development. Although we have Varna Ashram, we have all these things to help us engage in service, right? We should take the elevator, not the staircase, back home, back to God. And that elevator is this chanting of the holy names of the Lord. It's the acceptance of the spiritual master. It's the following of the instructions of the spiritual master. And if you look at Lord Chaitanya's life, just cleaning the temple. So he said, in this situation, you simply work. You simply wash this temple. You simply sweep the temple. That's all. You do it regularly, with all your heart and soul. You become perfect. You don't require even to read. That's what it says here. You don't require even to read. So Dasya means simply work as a menial servant of Krishna. Do you think that the gopis were Vedantists?
No.
Think they were well studied in the Vedanta? I don't think so. They were simple cowherd maidens. And their devotion is considered to be the highest of all, because it's from the heart. So this development of even speculative knowledge and too much knowledge, Prabhupada said we have 4 or 5 books. We read those books, it's enough. We don't have to become so expert in all the literature of the world. We read Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion, Chaitanya Charitamrita. We go back home, back to Godhead. It's that simple. Chant Hare Krishna. Engage yourself. So Arjuna, of course, was friends with Krishna. A little different. In Arjuna's relationship, sometimes they would joke, right? You'll be able to talk about this on the next round. Well, they would lay together and jest. And he would go, "Oh, Krishna, you're quite the fellow," because Krishna would boast a little bit. But in Dasyaras, none of that exists. So Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanabandhanam Dashyam Sakyam Matmani Vedanam. This is the way home. This is the roadmap back home, back to Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23 says so. All we have to do is become expert at that. So in Vaikuntha, there's 2 kinds of transcendental mellows for the Dasya portion. So those are known as, in the beginning, it's really just awe and reverence to Krishna. Adoration. Sambrama is what it's called. Right? Just enamored with Krishna and the service of Krishna. But later, it's called Gauraya. Gauraya is when you actually feel like you need to protect Krishna. So then you take a superior role a little bit and just serve it. You want to protect Krishna, as if Krishna, if God needs your protection. See what I'm saying? As if He needs it. But that's how you feel. You become very personalized with that. So in those situations, we have to understand there are lots of devotees in this Dasyaras category. Sevanishtas like Lord Shiva. He's a great devotee. Great Sevanishta. King Indra. Everything seems to be going on pretty nicely. King Indra's doing his job. At least he hasn't been chased out of heaven recently. Although we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam as part of our class in Tennessee, and Indra got dethroned again, which happens fairly regularly. Then all these great servants, like Indra, King Baku, Shrutadev, Pundarik, they're all Anugas. Anugas, followers, servants, are always standing at the entrance gate of Dwarka, awaiting the Lord's orders with tears in their eyes. Think about that. Simply awaiting the Lord's orders. So there's so many examples of these wonderful anugas, of these sevanishtas, or these dasya bhakti rasas that we love to talk about. So Dasyaras. Is there any questions about Dasyaras that you have that we could, or if you have any illumination or anything you'd like to add to the conversation, please do. I have about, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 or 9 more pages I've got to, so unless you want to spend the rest of the day. I think I'll go ahead and end it up. But I tried to cover most of the important points of Dasya Rasa for you today, as far as my knowledge will take me. You know, I've been doing this a little over 50 years, and I'm just beginning to grasp what servitude even means. I don't know what it is. And what is Krishna happy with? He's happier when I serve you than he is if I try to serve him directly. Right? Krishna's much happier with that. He doesn't even taste food that's not offered to the mouth of a Brahmin. Yeah. Why? Because Krishna loves you. Because Krishna loves you more than he loves himself. He is the soul of your soul. He is the life of your life. And Krishna has expanded himself into all these different variegated forms for the purpose of rasa. And what is rasa's purpose? Pleasure. It's all about pleasure. We're all pleasure seekers. So renunciation, Chaitanya wasn't just happy with renunciation, was he? He wanted to see proactive engagement of devotional service and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord. And that starts with Dasya Rasa. And then it can expand into the other rasas as well. And all of that will be revealed in due course of time to us without any difficulty at all. Guys.